it's for a good cause. And without any further ado, I want to bring on soap opera star, movie star, Tracy Lindsey Melchior. And I hope I pronounced that last name right.
It's pretty close. It's Melchior.
Melchior, okay.
Melchior.
Well, welcome to the show, Tracy. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm his co-host, Harold, and I wanted to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
That's my pleasure. Thank you. Nice to chat with you guys. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Doing good. What inspired you to be a actress?
You know what? Kind of funny how I got started in acting because my parents, we moved around quite a bit. Wasn't in the military or anything, but we just ended up moving quite a bit. And we moved during halfway through a semester, my 7th grade year, and they needed to put me in an elective course, and all the electives were taken except drama. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. A new school, and I have to do theater? I was like, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me. And here I am all these years later. I ended up falling in love with it and made it a career. So I really think it was a God thing that I got into acting. I got thrown in the water, so to speak, but I ended up learning to swim and really liked it.
Wow, that's incredible.
I thought so.
I wanted to ask you about, you were on one of the shows I liked, I think it was Hercules, Legendary Journeys.
Yeah.
Did you have to go to New Zealand, I think it was shot there? Did you have to go there for that?
Yeah, but I don't frame it had to. I said get to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How was it for you being Kristen Forrester on The Bold and the Beautiful?
That was a really good job. First off, that the family that runs Bold and Beautiful, they make it such a wonderful work environment, especially because when I started on the show, I had just had my first son, and he was 3 and 4 months old, I think, when I started. And
wow.
Well, yeah, it was kind of nerve-wracking, you're a first-time parent, and then this contract role on a soap, and I'm thinking, how am I going to make this work? And the first day I was shooting, Brad Bell, our executive producer, he calls me, and he's like, how's it going? And I'm like, good. And he goes, did you bring your baby? And I said, no. And I said, but I heard it's okay that we bring our kids. And he said, not only is it okay, we insist. And I was just, that was the job for me. So my son was on my lap during hair and makeup. He was on the stage during rehearsals a lot of times. Unless he was napping, he was with me up until we were shooting. Then he had to not be in there because babies don't care if you're rolling tape. They'll cry whenever they want to cry. So that was the only time he wasn't with me. So it was really a great job. And then the character I really like as well. So it was just a perfect combination for my personal and professional life at the time.
Well, that was truly a blessing from God, I believe.
Mhm.
Is your husband still with the LAPD SWAT team?
You know what? He retired from there a couple of years ago and lateraled over to Anaheim.
Oh, okay. Right there. Hello?
Yeah. You there?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I pushed the button by accident. I thought I hung up. I wanted to just kind of follow up. I saw on a interview that you talked about women on the SWAT team. Do you still feel that maybe they should or shouldn't be on that?
You know what? I don't mind women being on the SWAT team at all. I have no problem with them being on there. What I had an issue with is I don't think that any protected group, even my own as a woman, should ever be given a leg up so that they can do something. They should prove that they can do it. If you want to be doing the same job as a man, then do the same job as a man. Don't make it so that you're, getting an extra, like I said, leg up. I didn't like that the whole idea, Chief Bratton wanted to lower the standard because he thought it was unfair that a woman had never been able to pass to get in, but I just don't believe in lowering a standard just so that somebody else can do it. Either you can make it as a SWAT officer or you can't, regardless of your gender. So that's what I was against.
Oh, okay.
I think, and everything going on with law enforcement right now too, this is what happens. This is kind of like the ripple effect. You can't keep lowering the standard because in these kind of professions, we need to keep that standard high. Don't lower it, and then we have issues.
I agree with you.
When you were on One Life to Live as Kelly Kramer Buchanan, what was it like for you being able to work with such an amazing cast?
The cast, it's funny because I did 2 different soap operas in Los Angeles before I went and did One Life to Live in New York. And it really is a whole different actors in New York are different than actors in L.A. I mean, it's really interesting. L.A. actors, it's more like it's really the general just idea of the difference between Los Angeles and New York, but it also translates into how the actors operate too. Like it's more laid back, laissez-faire, like, yeah, it's all good, we're just chit-chatting, and then it's like, okay, time to do a scene, and then everybody does their scene, and then we're still back to talking about, let's go to the beach this weekend, right? In New York, like those actors, it's like, let's rehearse, let's keep rehearsing, let's keep running it. How else do you want to do it? They're a little more intense in their craft, for sure. Okay. But I like both styles. I really do. I found both. I found the good and the bad in both of them. So, no complaints.
Sticking with the soap opera theme, how was it when you were on Sunset Beach? Did you get to work with the late great Aaron Spelling?
You know what? He wasn't around much. He was our executive producer, but we didn't see him much. And that's pretty typical with his caliber. He was, oversees everything, but wasn't involved in the day-to-day production. But as far as working on one of his shows, for the way most soap operas run, the daytime stuff, I don't know if I should say like the redheaded stepchild of television, but it's quite different. It's like the craft services usually are not the same, not as, high end, let's say. But with Aaron, he ran his soap opera just like a prime time show. We were spoiled rotten. We were very well taken care of, which, and I feel like if you do that with your employees, I think they give 100% more, and they feel valued that way.
Okay.
Now the next few questions that I have for you, I'm not going to ask them all at one time, but they're related to the movies you've been in the past few years, and I'm actually honored to say that I own all these movies because they're such wonderful, movies of God and just great movies. I wanted to ask you, your movie you were in, Hidden Secrets. How was it for you being able to work with John Schneider and Reginald VelJohnson?
Well, John is really who I worked with more. I think it was just the church funeral thing that I worked with Reginald, but so I didn't really get. Okay. And I was just attending the funeral. He kind of was up there doing his monologue, and he was great, but I didn't interact with him much. But as far as being on set with him, he was great, wonderful, very professional, and knocked his part out of the park for sure. Now with John, I was able to be in a lot more scenes with him, and I grew up in the '80s, Dukes of Hazzard. He was always my favorite, brother. And so for me, just personally, it was kind of cool. Between him and when I was on The Bold and the Beautiful, Eric Estrada played my father-in-law. So I got like the Chips guy and I got the Dukes of Hazzard guy. I was like, oh my gosh, like a 10-year-old girl all of a sudden again working with these guys. But John Schneider is a truly class act. I mean, both of them actually, but you asked about John Schneider. He's just, he handles himself so well, and it's my first faith-based film, and I knew that he had, had such a long career. So I think just as an actor himself, you kind of study someone who has that kind of a career when you're newer. But then also just my first faith-based film and knowing he was a believer and how to manage that. So he was under a little bit of a microscope with me, and he he didn't disappoint.
Okay, yeah. Speaking of the Dukes of Hazzard, last week we actually interviewed Ben Jones on here, Cooter from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
When I was looking at one of the interviews you did, I saw that you were you had some horses. I wanted to ask you about that. Do you have your own horse ranch or something?
No, I don't. There's been a couple times in my marriage that I've really kind of tried to fight for buying horse property, and then my husband reminded me that with young kids, he's like, really? You really want to have to feed and clean them all the time? And I know that probably 80% of the time I would love it, but 20% it'd be a huge hassle. So I think once our kids are a little older, we'll look at having them on the property, because I grew up on a horse ranch in Colorado, so I was used to having them in my backyard, and it was a little bit of a double-edged sword. So I think he might have a point. Yeah. So I board them out at this point. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In Revelation Road 1 and 2, you worked with Steve Borden, a.k.a. Sting, and Jen Lilly, who was on General Hospital and is now on Days of Her Life. How was that experience?
You know what? My actual part, the only person that I worked with, because I was married to Eric Roberts in that, for Eric Roberts' character. So all of my stuff was him just going back home, never with the biker gang, or I didn't interact with them at all. So I didn't get that opportunity. But I wish I would have, because I don't know. I also ride motorcycles. So I was very jealous of, I think the role was Kat that Andrea Logan White played. I was like, dang, I have my motorcycle license. I could do that. But, she's a producer, so that's why she gets the bigger parts. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching the Revelation Road. Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying Revolution, but Revelation Road 1, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? And at the end of it, it was like, to be continued. I was like, no! So I had to, wait until the part 2 come out, and I was like, wow, this is good,
Well, it ended up like that. My understanding was that it was originally just one movie, but the director, he's very indulgent the way he shoots. He likes a lot of footage and really got into that, and so it was getting really long, and so they decided to make it into 2. So it was just the first movie. It ended up like that, to be continued, because they just kind of made one script into 2 movies, and then they wrote a script for the third. So. Yeah.
Wow, that's
I kind of wish
cool.
they'd done that with You Believe, to be honest with you, because they ended up editing so much out of it, and so much that I thought was good, that I think would have been nice to keep as well.
Yeah.
Now, in doing some research, I come up with some questions. They're a little bit rough, and I'll ask them. But if you don't want to answer them, you just tell me you don't want to answer them or whatever. But can you tell me about, well, not about, but about if a person is raped, what would you tell them? Do you have any?
Well, I mean, there's so many different variables to it. So many different kinds. That I don't know that there's one blanket answer, but I do believe that as much as it's hard for women, it goes so unreported. I think one of the things that is important with something like that is if you don't report it, then the chance of that perpetrator doing it again and again and again, it has to be on your conscience, and I feel there's a little bit of a moral obligation. And I say that not having done that myself. so I sound a little hypocritical, but I was 12, so, and 16, the two times that those had happened to me. So I guess in my defense, I was too young to know any better, and I didn't have any parents or anybody that I went to with it. So in retrospect, I would say that would be my regret.
Okay. So your advice would be to report it immediately and go from there?
Yeah, and then because the thing is, like, in going back, I try not to think about it, but sometimes I feel so mad about that stuff. I wouldn't even know a name. I couldn't identify him out of a crowd of two, either of them. I mean, I just have no idea anything about him, but if I'd have done something at the time where they could have done like a rape kit kind of thing or something where they could have been identified, because who knows what heinous things that progressed into for them.
Right.
You know, I'm sure that wasn't the end of it.
Right. Well, thank you for answering that. I didn't mean to cause any, problems or anything.
No, not at
all. I love your new movie, Do You Believe? It's such an inspiring movie. I believe that it brought home, such a powerful message to so many people. One thing that I was I was kind of saddened to see, though, and in the end of the movie, that the doctor didn't believe in God, and he didn't turn his life over to Jesus in the end of the movie.
Yeah, but I think that if he did, it was just too perfect, wrapped with a bow. I think that to make it realistic, I think that not everyone does. So.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, but we always hope they will, but you're right.
It doesn't mean
not
he
everyone
didn't.
does. Yeah.
Doesn't mean he doesn't ever, but he didn't by then.
Did you get a chance while you were on the movie to work with Lee Majors?
Yeah, I did. I didn't have a lot of scenes with him, but I still hung out with him quite a bit. My first day on set his first day, we shot in a very remote area in Michigan, and they would pick us up with a car to drive us to set from this casino we were staying in. That there was nothing around there. I think the population in that town's 5,000. And anyway, so Lee and I rode together his first day to set, and it's about a 40-minute drive. So we ended up, chit-chatting quite a bit and got along really well. And his wife was there with him, and he was talking about, man, what is she going to do in this small town? And I said, you know what? I've made a friend here, and we're going to go do Manny Petty's downtown next week or tomorrow if she wants to go with us. So I ended up hanging out with him and his wife quite a bit. We hit it off really well. Yeah, he was great.
That's awesome. Yeah, my co-host Harold is a big fan of Lee Majors.
Yeah. I can see why.
I'm a little older too, so he's from my time frame.
Yeah, I saw the $6 Million Man, but I never saw The Fall Guy, or wasn't, he wasn't a huge thing in my life, but I know of him and respected him. But then getting to know him personally, I could hang out with him every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Him and his wife both. They're just wonderful people.
Well, that's very good. Yeah.
He's really neat because it's you go out in public with him. We'd go out to dinner a couple times or something, and he could sit and chat with you. He wasn't worried about who's recognizing me. You didn't, and even though there would be eyes on him, but if somebody came up and recognized him, he acknowledged it, but it wasn't his focus, which is really nice.
That's neat.
Yeah, he's cool.
Now, we're not the best interviewers, but how was it being interviewed by the great Larry King?
That, I got to tell you guys, there's the reason why he's a great Larry King. I've done quite a few interviews over my time as an actress. And, even with national talk shows, with Inside Edition and all of those kind of shows. sitting and talking with him, and I'd never been more nervous for an interview, and I was praying all the way in there. I'm like, oh, dear Lord, please don't let me embarrass myself or you, you know. And within 60 seconds, I forgot we were even on TV. It was just me and Larry talking. And I think what makes him really good is that he just kind of has a conversation. Like he doesn't sit there and worry about what's the next question. He is listening and then comes up with a question because he's just having a conversation. So he really is, like you said, the great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I expected to be under, like so many of them. I think the difference between how he does it is he interviews you, whereas a lot of the other press, especially when I was around my book and, doing secular interviews, it would feel very much like I was being interrogated more than interviewed.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you wrote a book called Breaking the Perfect 10. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, there's a thing. Have you guys heard of Movie Guide? There's a thing called Movie Guide, and it's by this guy Ted Baer. And what he does is it's like an online resource for parents, I guess, or anybody who just wants to know. They want movie reviews, but they want to know if there's any spiritually redemptive value or if it's pagan values, that kind of thing. So it's a Christian resource, and they review movies, and you can go on there, and before your kid says, I want to go see this, you can look and see if it's in line with your values, something you want them to see. And they also have an award show every year for the most, spiritually redemptive films in all different categories and TV shows. Anyway, so I'd done their award show. I'd been asked to do that a couple times, and I was helping them with some fundraisers and getting involved. And then one day Ted calls and says, I have some people in town that I'd like you to meet. So we arranged a meeting, and I come in. I wasn't even sure who I was meeting, but it was publishers from Broadman Holman. And I'm like, okay, these guys publish Bibles, they own the Lifeway Christian bookstores. And I sat down, and they said, Ted tells us that you have a story in you. And I'm like, he does he? And they said, yeah, we were wondering if you'd want to write a book. And I didn't go looking for a book deal. It just kind of came to me, and I said, okay. And I just left there and started brainstorming some ideas. And it just hit me all of a sudden that I had, before becoming a Christian, I had broken all of God's 10 commandments, trying to be Hollywood's perfect 10. And so I just that's where I started. I started with the title and then wrote the book.
So is that book available on Amazon?
It is. It's been out of print for a while. That came out, 2004.
Oh, wow.
But there are copies still available on Amazon, yeah.
Okay. Now, you were speaking of awards, and speaking of awards, I don't know if you knew this or not, but last night I was watching the Dove Awards on TBN, and your movie you're recently in, Do You Believe, was actually up for an award. But
I know. I almost went to Nashville. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, I want to go. And I guess I'm glad I didn't, because it didn't win, and I can't believe it didn't win. I really am surprised.
Yeah, there was another movie that won, I think, A Girl's Night Out or something like that was. Yeah, Mom's Night Out.
Mom's Night Out. I don't know if you saw it. It's cute. It's a totally cute film, and I love the cast. But as far as most inspirational film, I think we definitely were more inspirational, if that's what the award is,
Yeah.
You can argue all day what's a better film based on, subjectivity, but as far as more inspirational, I gotta say, Do You Believe was hands down. But
the only one that I had seen out of that category was Do You Believe. I hadn't even ever heard of Mom's Night Out until last night, when they were announced it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Patricia Heaton's in that. I think they had Trace Adkins also in there.
Oh, wow.
And Andrea Logan White, and also, I'm drawing a blank on her name, but she's on Grey's Anatomy. She plays Kepner. She's in it. And then Andrea Logan White, who is in a lot of the PureFlix movies. She's David White's wife.
Okay. I see that we got about 3 minutes left. Do you have any thing you want to promote out to the fans? Let the fans know about?
Geez, not that I can think of off the cuff.
Okay.
No, just I guess go out and see Do You Believe? It's out on DVD right now. If you haven't seen it yet, we were number 1 in drama category on Amazon. So number 1 in DVD sales on Amazon. It's a good movie, and like you said, get nominated for awards. And
I personally have not seen it, but I do know a lot of the people at my church have, and they say it's great. So I'm looking forward to it.
Listen to them and go see it.
Yes, it's a wonderful movie.
A quick question before you go. If you were going to be in a period biblical piece, and you were going to be the lead actress in a role, what character might you like to play?
Esther.
Esther. Okay. Well, they did that one. That was a good movie.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite chapters in the Bible is Esther. I love it. I love that story. Yep.
Okay.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on the show today and sharing your religious beliefs and everything. And talking about God. It's always good for us, to talk about God with other guests on the show. And
this show right here, we love God.
Oh,
yes,
good.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for.
You're very welcome.
Go ahead.
I was going to say
go
ahead. I'm sorry.
I love the sentiment because I feel like Christianity is so under attack these days. So anything we can do that helps remind people that it's a good, loving, forgiving, graceful religion. So I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well, again, we want to thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on the show today.
You're welcome. You guys have a great day.
You too.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this week's edition of